So just tell me what your protocol is, and I will assume I've already done it, but I'm open to it. I'm open to hearing what you have to say.
Welcome back to my channel. It's good to see you all again. If we haven't met before, then hi, I'm Goji Man. I'm currently studying for a Masters in Nutrition and qualifying as a nutritionist. And next year I'll be studying for a PhD in nutritional science. I do plant-based nutrition videos every other day in which I answer your health questions under the hashtag #AskGojiMan. So if you have a question for me, then hashtag #AskGojiMan in the comments below, and I'll choose one of these questions to answer in my next video for you. So in today's video, I give Vegetable Police an overview of the protocol for fixing his gut issues, and I respond to his video, Goji Man is smarter than us. So let's see what he says in his video.
So basically, he wants to confirm what we all already know, that I'm infested. I got worms, spiders, like mermaids and shit floating through me. We all know what's happening. And I've tried throughout my journey to eliminate them. I've tried doing the anti-parasite stuff. I'm not sure we need a test to confirm it. I don't need a Thai lady digging through my poo to know what we all already know.
So first up, Vegetable Police, you don't test to confirm what you already know. You test to see what strains of yeast and bacteria you have in your gut, because each strain will have a slightly different treatment protocol. So for example, if you have an overpopulation of the bacillus species in the small intestines, then on top of the dietary methods we will get into shortly, you should probably take berberine to kill off the bacillus, as this has a very high inhibition of those strains, whereas oregano, for example, has a much lower inhibition of those species. So Vegetable Police, testing isn't about confirming what you know, it's about giving you a detailed picture of what you don't know and what's going on from how you are digesting foods, your gut immunology, the metabolics of your gut, the microbiology, etc, etc. Then and only then can you know what you are dealing with and come up with a treatment plan for a way out.
And like, how expensive is that going to be? Do I want to spend hundreds of dollars? Because I went to a Thai blood clinic the other day just to see what getting a regular blood test would be like, and it was 10,000 baht. That's $400. It's like, I'm not that curious.
Okay, so I'm slightly confused about your statement about the test being too expensive. You say in this video that your health is your greatest asset. You say in this video that you move halfway around the world to fix your health, no doubt at great expense. But the simple test, which will give you a detailed route out of your health problems for maybe $800, that's too expensive. But let's get to this in a bit, because I have some suggestions on it for you.
And I've never experienced the relief by trying to kill parasites. I mean, it wasn't that long ago I was drinking turpentine to kill the parasites and see. That didn't bring me any relief. And I've done every style you can think of to kill the parasites. I've done the hippie bullshit way with the fruits. If you lower the fat just enough, the sugar will come into your cell, and then you kill the parasites at the same time, you're good to go. I've done that. That didn't help. I've done the, okay, let's keep it high carb, but do it slow, low glycemic ways. So we're doing just mainly the beans and the grains and the veggies and tons of garlic and the cayenne, and then you're taking the herbs. I've taken all the herbs. The wormwood, I've been all up in some wormwood. The black walnut hulls, pau d'arco, garlic on everything, juicing chunks of garlic, cloves in there. And it's like, it didn't work.
So here, Vegetable Police says he's tried it all from juice cleanses, parasite cleanses to detoxes, different dietary approaches, and nothing has worked. Now clearly these approaches will never work, because all these juice cleanses and foods are simply loading the body up further with oxalates, histamines and salicylates. So your gut is already struggling and you are simply throwing fuel onto the fire. Throwing fruits and vegetables and juices blindly at a problem will never fix the issue.
And then I've tried the low sugar approach. It's like, okay, are the parasites feeding off the sugar? Let's eliminate the sugar. Keep it vegan. High fat vegan. And I did experience some relief in many of the symptoms, but never the gut. Never the gut. That's always been haywire. And I've tried the probiotics and fermented foods and fermenting my own foods. And when I was doing the high-fat vegan, almost everything was fermented. The nut yogurts I was fermenting myself, making sauerkraut, taking probiotics. So just tell me what your protocol is, and I will assume I've already done it, But I'm open to it. I'm open to hearing what you have to say.
Okay, Vegetable Police, I am glad that you asked for a protocol, and I will give you this very shortly. But before I get to this, I want to cover off some of your comments about fermented foods, because it's really important for you and everyone else with gut issues to understand what I'm about to say. So fermented foods and most probiotics are very high in histamine. So Vegetable Police, because of your gut issues, you can't break down the histamines properly. So clearly, if you throw histamine-rich foods into your gut, more fuel onto the fire. So the trick with fermented foods when you have gut issues is that you make fermented foods that are low histamine and histamine neutral. So you give the gut healing properties without antagonizing the problem. And I will explain this further towards the end of the video, but first let's get into the protocol for exactly how you fix your gut problems. So first you take the test, and we will get into the costs in a short while. We look at exactly what species are in your gut and then select the best antimicrobials and antibacterials that will inhibit these species the most. These supplements could be berberine, allicin, oregano, neem, etc. But we will only know after taking the test. You simply can't guess. Then we look at the results of your digestion and absorption. So is your body sufficiently breaking down the food properly before it gets to the small intestines? And why is this important? Well, like I said in my last video, I am almost certain you have SIBO. SIBO is normally only driven for two main reasons. Number one, you have bacteria in the small intestines where it shouldn't be, and it interferes with your ileocecal valve, which is the muscle that separates your small and large intestines. So when you have a healthy gut, your stomach will break down the food, it will go through your intestines, and the ileocecal valve will shut, preventing any bacteria colonizing in the small intestines. And as I said previously, the small intestines is where you absorb food, and there should be no bacteria or fermentation here, otherwise you will run into all manner of health problems like you currently are. Now it's really important that you take these tests because you need to know if your SIBO is caused just by having bacteria in the small intestines, or whether you have SIBO that is being driven by a stomach acid problem, and let me explain. Now, as many of you are aware, you need very low stomach acid to break down your food properly. If you don't, then undigested food will simply enter your small intestines and make the ileocecal valve and the SIBO problem a lot worse. So we take the test to understand this process, otherwise again we are simply playing guessing games. So we have looked over the test results and we can see that you have SIBO, candida and maybe some parasites, and then we choose a number of different supplements that will help kill all of this off. We have looked at your digestion and absorption and can see whether your gut is breaking down your food properly, and if not, then we simply supplement to bring up your stomach acid levels. So that's step number 1 and 2. So for step number 3, from your test results, we look at your salicylate and oxalate numbers. It may be that salicylates are not your major problem, just oxalates, or it may be that both of them are equally as problematic. So before we start supplementing to kill off the bacteria, we would put you on a low FODMAP, low histamine, low oxalate, low salicylate diet for a number of weeks, depending on the numbers from your test results. Now this is really important that you do this because with oxalates you have to reduce them at 5% per week. If you do it any more than this, then you can create a problem called oxalate dumping, where all of the oxalate stored in your body will be released at once and you will feel absolutely horrific. This happened to me for 2 weeks and I couldn't get out of bed for having severe irregular heartbeats. So now we have reduced the oxalates, salicylates and histamines in your diet, and then we go after the bacteria aggressively. Now you do this for 8 weeks and then you look at the numbers again to see how much the SIBO and bacteria have come down. Now if you have really bad SIBO and candida like I suspect you do, then it may take a couple of cycles of supplements to fix the problem. If you want to be super aggressive with it, some people choose to go down the antibiotic route and use rifaximin on a prescription from their doctor. Rifaximin is a type of antibiotic that isn't absorbed into the body and it only works in the intestines, so there is much less chance of you having side effects. That being said, I'm not a fan of antibiotics, but some people just want a quicker fix. Regardless of whether you use supplements or antibiotics, you have to adopt the dietary approaches, otherwise you will never kill off the yeast and bacteria and they will simply keep coming back. Now depending on the severity of your SIBO and yeast etc, after a period of time you will then introduce the beneficial bacteria into your gut. This has to be done carefully after you have sorted the SIBO problem, otherwise you are just adding more bacteria into an area of the small intestines that already has a problem with too many bacteria. Not a good idea. So when we know it's safe to do so, we add in the histamine neutral fermented foods to help recolonize and crowd out the bad bacteria that is left, and we also focus on healing the gut with L-glutamine and quercetin supplements. Now, another thing that we have to consider is that all of these supplements to kill the bacteria and heal the gut are all made from plants, and these plants contain oxalates, histamines and salicylates. So you have to be very selective when choosing the correct supplements, otherwise again you are just fueling the fire and you will make yourself feel horrific. So that is a very generic overview of the protocol. It's not something that can be second guessed. You need the test results to see exactly what you're dealing with and how you get out of the issue. Otherwise you'll end up in a vegetable police scenario and you simply have no idea what you're dealing with, and you are just throwing lots of random stuff at a problem and you will just add fuel to the fire. Now, in terms of funding these tests, I have made small amounts of money off my YouTube channel in the last month making videos around your health problems. I've made maybe $280 or so. I'm willing to donate this towards your testing. I also suggest that we set up a funding page to source the rest of the money for the testing. But Vegetable Police, this is your call and something that you have to want to do yourself. If you have already made up your mind to eat meat and dairy, then I'm not here to judge you. That is your own personal choice. But where I absolutely have the right to judge and criticise you is when you have over 60,000 followers and you tell these people you have tried everything and nothing has worked. Nothing has worked because you have just been randomly throwing juice cleansers and foods at a problem you have no understanding of. A good analogy of this scenario is if my boiler stopped working now and I read a couple of boiler books and watched a couple of YouTube videos along the way, should I then start turning screws and adjusting settings on the boiler? Well, absolutely not. I have no experience of boilers, and by randomly tinkering with various parts I could make matters a lot worse and either electrocute myself or cause a flood. At Vegetable Police, this is the approach you are currently taking with your health. Now, I really love the passive-aggressive nature of your last video towards me. I love that feistiness. But these videos shouldn't be about egos, it should be about getting to the root cause of your health issues and fixing them. What you are inferring in your videos is that you have tried a vegan diet for 10 years and it hasn't worked for you, so therefore it has been bad for you. So now, because of your lack of understanding of the problem you are dealing with and backing yourself into a corner because of the dietary choices you have made, the only way you can see out of this is via meat, dairy and eggs. But you have a responsibility to your followers now to help educate them that your health problems are caused by your gut issues and not a vegan diet per se. This is not a hate video towards you. I love your channel and I love your overall sense of humour, and I want you to get your health back as quickly as possible. Now, we all know that you've already been eating animal products to control your symptoms. Again, I am not judging. I nearly went down that path myself. You have no idea how bad my health was. And I have seen some of your comments in which you say you are 85% healed because of the animal products you have been eating. Maybe you can share some of these protocols with us because I am all ears. The problem for me with what you are saying is when you have SIBO, parasites, etc. and problems with oxalates, histamines and salicylates, these problems are not fixed or cannot be fixed in a week or two since your last video. All you are doing is reducing your symptoms, and a reduction of symptoms does not mean that you have healed. Try a bowl of beans and sweet potatoes and then tell me you have healed. All you are doing is further backing yourself into a corner so that when you do start reintroducing these foods into your diet, your reactions will become more violent. And if this is the case, I really do feel for you for what's about to come in your direction, because I suffered so bad when it happened to me. The last thing that I want to say is that you don't need to feel bad, and you are certainly not letting anyone down. You have a health condition that is like a living hell on earth. But you need to know that it can be fixed fairly easily, and we are all here to help you get well, whatever path you take.
Yeah, I'm sorry if I'm letting people down here, but I've tried too hard for too long, for 10 years. I even moved here. I uprooted my entire life to give veganism one last shot, because in the 9 years I was doing it, it wasn't working. And I was like, maybe if I just had the tropical fruits and the warmer climate and the vitamin D from the sun, I might heal. But I haven't seen it happening. So it's like I've tried everything. I'm trying my hardest. I don't want to eat meat.
So that's the end of my response videos. There will be no more. I wish you all the best with getting your health back on track. If you need any help, then give me a shout. If you want to do the testing, then my money and GoFundMe page is waiting. As always, for the rest of you, if you have a question for me, then hashtag AskGojiMan in the comments below, and I'll choose one of these questions to answer in my next video for you. And as always, remember to look after your body, because it's the only place you have to live. And I'll see you next time.